Dreamers everywhere. Welcome to the Dueling Disney podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Andee Zilberman.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Aldee. How you doing?
He is the other one of our hosts. I'm good. It's almost Thanksgiving when we're recording this, and know, both of the daughters are in Disney parks. So just seeing all the Christmas stuff going up is, I know it's before Thanksgiving, but it's getting me very, very happy.
I've never understood that early Christmas decoration complaint. It's not like there's all these Thanksgiving decorations that we just have to
there's
have
not.
And feel emotional.
I'm much better now. When I was a kid, I was just very much, everything has to be in its place. But now that we are learning more about what Thanksgiving actually means for a large population of our country, which is actually, mourning of the genocide that had happened. Things like that. Yes, we can still be grateful. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to be that person. Well,
it's a more complex issue than it was when we were kids.
Exactly.
We didn't have the full understanding when we were watching Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving.
Exactly. And to be honest, so is Christmas. But then COVID and living in Portland, Oregon, where it's dark all the time, I say bring on the light. I'm okay. I'm like, get the lights up, get the how do you, and I'm going to mispronounce it, the Danish, what is it? Huggy, H-Y-G-G-E.
You're asking me how to pronounce the Danish?
Yeah, sorry. But it's the feeling of the Danish, or Finnish, now I don't even know. But the whole idea of, cozy comfort, you don't know because you're California and you've always been in California. But here in Portland, Oregon.
So I don't know about coziness or comfort. I'm in California.
I know.
The whole place is cozy and comfort.
Nah,
I used to live in Santa Barbara.
No. Different.
We've got sunshine and good food. And I know it's so horrible living in California. It's terrible.
I'm talking about blankets and books and candles and all that kind of stuff. So that's where
how many books I have?
Well, comics don't count. I'm talking about they count.
Comics do count, but I am looking to move, and all of my friends have gone for the hills because nobody wants to move my books anymore.
Yeah, I don't blame them. You're old enough. You are old enough to pay someone to move you.
Oh, I'm paying somebody.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm paying somebody, Jerry. I'm paying.
We are not at the age where we move our own things anymore at all.
No, if I move this piece of paper, I have back problems. So, yeah.
There you go. How was your Disney week?
Disney week's cool.
What was yours?
We are recording this on Sunday, November 20th, so the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And so been a ton of work. As at the university I work at, I won't say the name, but we're known for our protests.
This whole week on the news
has been strikes, and I was there one night this week for a protest, which I will say in my official capacity, I have no opinions about, but in my capacity as a human, we had a speaker who I did not enjoy or agree with, or who I would very much be against anything he said.
Wow.
So I was on campus a lot in protest response this week. So when I got home, some nights at 9 or 10, I just needed a little quick hit. And so what I would use as a quick hit is something that wasn't born Disney, but I was surprised to find on Disney Plus, which you were like, of course it's on Disney Plus. And I was like, I didn't know this was on Disney Plus. And so I just really got into, again, because I was really into it when I was younger, Schoolhouse Rock this week.
Oh, right.
So I just, and it's great because it's like little 3-minute hits of nostalgia and learning. And so I just, I'm just a Bill, and 3 is a magic number, and all that kind of stuff from our childhood, from Saturday morning cartoons between Super Friends and Thundercats and all that kind of stuff. So I just watched a lot of Schoolhouse Rock on Disney Plus this week, and it was awesome.
It is awesome. I got the DVDs when I was teaching in the 90s, and I got the DVDs. So I was so happy when Disney pulled it on to Disney Plus. I do love Schoolhouse Rock. I think it's amazing. And I think that I was going to say more kids should watch it, but really more of the country.
More adults should watch.
Especially during election season. They might learn a thing or two.
Well, and here's the thing. I was surprised that it is one or two of them don't age well from the history ones, but pretty much the
Yeah.
rest of them do. So like the
Are you
history
talking-
ones, like the one I can't remember what it's called, but the Manifest Destiny one, where it's just
Yeah.
like, hey, we just took over the whole country and nobody was
Yep.
there and it was fine.
Yep.
That one doesn't quite. You're sort of like, well, it's a little more complicated than that. But for the most part, like the politics ones, they're just super learny. And
Yeah,
I
and the
agree,
math.
like the math, and like many adults, I am not ashamed to admit that often in my writing, when I'm trying to remember grammar rules,
all
I'm
the
like,
time.
oh, I need to unpack my adjectives. That's what it is.
Unpack your adjectives.
Adjectives. And honestly, I had forgotten what an adverb was until I rewatched.
Oh,
Ollie, Ollie, get your adverbs here.
adverbs here. I just
It was
love
awesome.
it so
It was cool. And
much.
I agree. I think I wish they were in rotation. I wish kids today, I mean, they're available on Disney Plus, but I don't know. The way we watched them was just different. Like they just came on. It didn't matter like what show you were watching. They just came on and it was really cool.
Right. Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, very fun. I love, I can't say enough good things about Schoolhouse Rock for kids. And like I said, some adults.
And for adults. Yeah. And honestly,
Yeah.
whenever I'm tracking the progress of a law, I do have to be like, okay, so I'm just a bill. Okay, it goes to the House of Representatives, and it goes to the House to the Senate, then it goes to the White House where it waits in a line with a lot of other bills for the. Okay, that's where it's at. It's at the White House waiting in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign.
If I didn't watch Schoolhouse Rock and Electric Company, I'd probably never know how to spell.
Oh yeah, right.
Those two
I would
things.
definitely not know grammar rules, no question.
Right. See. Thank you, Schoolhouse Rock. Thank you, Disney, for putting them on.
How was your Disney week?
It was fine. It was interesting. Lots of Disney news. Speaking of Disney Plus, not making any money, and so Bob Chapek says that there's going to be a hiring freeze at Disney, and no corporate travel or anything like that. And I'm like, because Disney Plus isn't making money, and so you can look more into that. It's just I'm not a Chapek fan, guys. Sorry. Every time. I mean, like this is ridiculous. And
I don't
yes,
understand how they're not
you know
making any money. I just spent another ton of money to continue my subscription.
I don't know that what they're doing, paying too much for talent. I don't know, but he's not going to leave because he's making the corporation money, even
money.
if he's making shareholders money. He's charging us more and we're paying it.
That's how capitalism works.
I know. So let's get on that makes me sad. Let's get on to happy things. I did get this in the mail. Finally. If you're on YouTube,
I got that too.
Did you really?
I finally got it. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to dig through it yet, but I did get it.
So
this is a book for our listeners. Please describe.
It is 100 Disney Adventures of a Lifetime. Magical experiences from around the world by Mary Carricker Smothers. A foreword by Joe Rohde, whom I love. And then you said you got it too. Well, we saw this. Let's talk about how cheap we are.
I know, right?
We saw this. We saw the author at the D23 Expo, and then we wanted to buy the book. There were only going to be a certain number of copies you could buy in advance. And we heard that there was also, because there's 100 adventures, so they were including like a checklist of things you could check off as you do them. So we're like, cool, we want that special edition.
Yeah, done.
And then we're like, wait, how much is that? $100? Okay. So
well,
I want to show you.
I remember specifically, we're like $100, and then I can't remember if it was you or me pulling them up Amazon, being like, it's like $25 on Amazon. Nope.
Without the checklist. But here, I want to show you what I'm doing without a checklist. I don't have a checklist, but I did buy some of these like little tiny vinyl Mickey stickers.
Oh, that's a really cool idea.
And so on each page, then. Let me find. Of course,
and we'll put a picture of, I'm assuming, where you've done this on the book on our Instagram, so people know what we're talking about.
So right here, if you can see in the upper corner, I put a little vinyl mouse sticker on the ones that I've done. So then I can go through and look.
That's a really cool idea. Send me where you got the vinyl mouse stickers. I'll do the same thing. It'll be cool.
I just got them on Etsy. I can forward you the link. The photography is amazing. I really love it. And I think it's a beautiful living room, coffee table /book. And I think it would be really fun for both Disney people and non-Disney people alike to be looking through this book. It's just really fun. It's not heavy reading by any means. There's a lot of things I wasn't expecting in there to be a Disney adventure or a Disney excursion, which I loved. I wish that when Annika was in Chicago going to school, I would have taken advantage and gone to Walt Disney's birth home, the home he lived in when he was first born. But then there's also restaurants and things in LA that Walt Disney would have frequented or things like that. So it doesn't even have to be necessarily a Disney owned property or anything. It would be like Walt's life.
I remember, and this is before the book came out, I was just in LA and I was looking for the site of the original studios. And I found it, and it's like a Ralph's supermarket now, but
it's a grocery store. Yeah, I know. I think that's so cool, and I'd like to go see it. That's actually one. That's actually one of the things in the book. So I think it's a really cool book. I recommend it. I think it's a good gift for any Disney fan. If you don't know what to get your Disney fan, it's really cool, and it's if you buy it on Amazon, well, if you buy it in your local bookstore, it's still cheaper than $100. So
way cheaper. And I just said we bought it on Amazon. I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, but use your local bookstore if you can.
Yeah, I know. We love our local, but we love our indie bookstore.
Oh my God. And to be fair, I did get it on Amazon, but I probably spend way more money in local bookstores than I do on Amazon, on books anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then, part of our week, we're on our way on Thanksgiving Day. We are going to go see Annika working, doing PhotoPass at Magic Kingdom. And Emma, my oldest daughter, and her boyfriend, Fernando, they're going to be flying from LA. And we're going to be flying from Portland. And we're all going to be together.
Are you all flying on Thanksgiving Day?
Mm-hmm, we are.
Everybody's flying on Thanksgiving Day. And then you're going to figure out a way to do dinner that night?
No, well, we did actually we did. I'm not a big here story about me, like you need to know, but on travel days, I'm just super tired. I hate anytime. Remember the last time at
especially cross country, right?
Well, that too, but I was even flying just south to meet you when we went out to dinner that night. I was exhausted. I couldn't enjoy myself. Yeah. Right. And so I talked about this, I think the last time or the time before. Fernando really wants a Thanksgiving dinner. And so I said, and he doesn't care what we eat. And I said, look, thank goodness we're getting a condo. So we're getting a DVC. We're staying at Saratoga Springs. So I said, look, by the time we all get in, by the time we get the car, by the time we get to the hotel, it's going to be like 8:00. I go, well, let's just get something at Artist Palette is a mobile order thing. We'll just put our order in. We'll eat around the table and we'll have Thanksgiving.
Right.
And I thought that was great. Well, I was just looking at the menu for Artist Palette. And so on Thanksgiving Day, they actually have a Thanksgiving meal you can choose as one of your options.
That totally makes sense.
I know. Cool. So turkey, stuffing, cornbread, mashed potatoes, a vegetable, right? So it's all the stuff I hate at home, I can hate it at Disney. So yay.
Nice. See, and you're such a kind and loving boyfriend's girlfriend's mom, because my response to that would have been, if he said, hey, I was just really important to me to have a Thanksgiving dinner, I'd be like, awesome, you're going to cook us all Thanksgiving dinner?
Yeah.
That is so kind, sir. That is so kind. Yeah. We'll pitch in. What do you want us to do? Bring sandwiches? What do you want us to do while you work to cook a Thanksgiving dinner for 6 people?
At 8:00 in the morning. Well, I will tell you that a couple years ago when Emma was doing the Disney college program, we had Thanksgiving a meal. We were there a little bit before, and we catered it from Cracker Barrel, which is okay. But I will tell you, the box meal that we brought home, it was so extremely salty. I know Cracker Barrel food is salty anyway, but it was really salty. And so I'm not in the mood to do that one again right now. But I thought it was great that they had this option for, all the mobile order restaurants around the resorts. So great.
Well, it's so interesting to me because you all are going to be at the hotel at 8, because I'm thinking, most of you are on West Coast time. So it's going to be like 11 o'clock. Is it going to be 11 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
No, it's going to be 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Even better. Okay, it's fine.
It'll be dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be fine. So I'm excited. And Hey, Joe.
To our YouTube watchers, my brother Joe just walked behind. I'm glad he had pants on.
Oh my God. We would have had so many more views if you didn't. Joe, take 2. Go back and take
Right.
your pants off.
We
No.
would have been demonetized before we were monetized.
So anyway, but lots of updates about Disney happening. Like I said, with Bob Chapek making his lovely decisions, which, in the past haven't really affected me, but now I've got 2 kids working for Disney.
Yeah.
His decision to do this hiring freeze didn't really affect my girls, because one is an intern and the other one is, the college program intern. The other one's a professional intern. But yeah, it is going to affect,
I mean, at some point, internships end, and that's the trick, right?
There was actually, I won't get too into it right now, because it's a long story, but Emma's internship ends, in January. And so she was just up for 4 jobs actually to take after that. And one of those jobs was canceled because of the hiring freeze. The other 3 were still up on the table, and she did end up taking one. So,
good.
Yeah. So she'll be employed by Disney at least for another, 6 months after. So at least till the summer. And Annika decided to extend. So both girls are going to be working at Disney till the summer at least. And then we'll see what happens after that.
Awesome.
So you went, since the last time we talked to you, you went to the Oogie Boogie Bash.
I did.
And
Disney California Adventure.
Do you want to give a recap of that really quick?
Disney's
California Adventure.
Anyway,
Disney's California Adventure. Just say DCA.
Disney.
The California Adventure belongs to Disney, so it's Disney's.
Like everything else, man. Let me tell you, huh?
Right? It's not Disney's Land; it's Disneyland, but it is Disney's California Adventure.
Nice.
Okay, great. Nice. We got that going for us, which is nice. Yeah.
Which is nice. Recap real quick. It's getting to be he's going to walk by with laundry, by the way. It's getting to be about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Went to Oogie Boogie Bash, which for those who are used to Walt Disney World, I think it's the Halloween celebration, and it's at Disney's California
Mickey's Not So
Adventure.
Scary Halloween Party is the one in Disney World. It's
really cool. So I went, my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephew, and my sister's mother-in-law, who is, I don't know what that makes her to me, my sister's best friend.
Nothing. So it makes her nothing to you. It makes her a friend of yours.
She's a lovely person.
She is, I'm sure.
Yeah. We all went to Oogie Boogie. I have not seen any of these folks since before COVID. My nephew was, I think, 7 when COVID started. He's 10 now, so he's like to me.
Yeah.
And the Oogie Boogie Bash is villain themed. All the way through DCA, they have, in addition to the regular DCA stuff, they have villains in sort of a lot of different places for a lot of photo opportunities, a lot of performances, a specialized parade. The Headless Horseman comes out to head up the parade, although he comes out like 15 minutes before the rest of the parade. So I was
same with Disney World.
I was like, oh, the parade's about to start. And then I stood there for another 15 minutes going, when is the parade coming? It was just really cool. I don't know how they do it, but whatever the Imagineers have done around the Oogie Boogie, especially in terms of like just special effects. So we went through this villain's grotto area, where just really cool special effects with smoke and lights and music and different stuff that I was genuinely impressed with, that you could see in sort of real world 3D. A bunch of really cool villain appearances, villains that you don't normally see.
That's awesome. I love when they do that. It
was just really cool. We had such a good time. My nephew and I really had a chance to bond. We try not to incorporate violence, so I didn't play Stop Hitting Yourself. But I did play with him when he was bored and needed to up his adrenaline game. Why Are You Dancing? Which is me grabbing his hands and making him dance and go, why are you dancing? This is inappropriate. And him going, ah. So, that's, if you're looking for a nonviolent alternative to Why Are You Hitting Yourself? Why Are You Dancing is a really good one. We just had a great time. And it was the crowds were such that you could do everything. Even for the popular attractions, the lines weren't too long. Pretty much walked on Incredicoaster.
Good.
Pretty much. I'm trying to think. What are the other stuff? The web swingers was pretty much a
Oh
walk
yeah, web
on.
slingers. Mm-hmm.
The Avenger stuff. I did not go on Guardians of the Galaxy because at 53, I've decided, I don't need my stomach to drop out anymore. I'm not needing to prove anything to anybody. It was just a ton of fun and a lot of specialized merch, which I didn't end up buying.
Wow.
Something for folks who've listened to all of our episodes, and my journey to find 3X gear at Disney parks, I have discovered that their 2X hoodies are fairly oversized and fit me just fine.
Good.
And so that's been pretty good, and that's definitely upped my ability to enjoy my time at the park. The t-shirts are not, but the hoodies are pretty good size. Just a great time. And it's one of those Disney things when you're there and there's 5 adults and 1 kid, like it's going to be what the kid wants. The trick-or-treating was awesome. So again, 5 adults and 1 kid, and my nephew, after we all trick-or-treated, would go to each of our bags and take out the good stuff.
Yes.
And be like, I'm a kid, give me the 100 grand bar.
I love it.
Which was fun. They also had healthy alternatives, which we were surprised to know, and we knew that it was our ages when they gave out fresh apple slices, and that was my favorite treat of the night. I was like, oh God, a piece of fruit is really going to come in handy right now. It was so much fun. And the only other time I'd been to one of the special events was with you all, and it was Emma was a baby. I think it was before Annika was
21
around.
years ago. It was
21 years ago. Where we did the Christmas thing at Disney World. So I just really love it. It's a lot of money in addition to what you've already spent to go into the park. But I enjoyed myself. I felt like it was worth the money I spent.
Good. I actually was 22 years ago, not 21 years ago. Sorry, it was 22 years ago. And we're actually going to be going to the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party when we're there next week. So we go
cool.
a week from Tuesday. So I'm excited about that too. Well, good. I'm glad that you liked it. I went to California Adventure Halloween Party a long time ago when it first started, before it was even Oogie Boogie Bash. I didn't think it held up to Walt Disney World's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, but it sounds like Oogie Boogie Bash is really pulling it up.
Well, I think part of it was that you got to see characters like Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, that you don't normally get to see.
That you just don't see. And you could tell and Ernesto de la Cruz from Coco, and you could tell that the cast members were really into it. Like those two, I remember specifically, were like really, really into it. And really trying to interact with, like, my nephew and Dr. Facilier had a whole thing going on. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. But you didn't have fun with the MagicBand Plus, you said? And that's Disneyland's first time using it. So
okay.
Totally curious.
For those who don't know, and I could see a lot of people sort of not knowing the intricacies of it. So the first time I have experienced the MagicBand, which has been at Disney World for 10 years?
Oh God, longer than that. It's been a long time.
They didn't have it the last time I was at Disney World.
They still have it?
No, I mean, the last time before our trip, which was 2010, they didn't have them. So it's definitely since 2010, but I think they got them like right after I went. Okay. And for those who don't know, the MagicBand, the standard MagicBand, before they introduced the MagicBand Plus, was a little watch-like device that you wear on your wrist and serves a number of purposes. You connect it to your credit card that you're going to use at the park. You can use it to as a ticket to get in and out of the park. You can use it to scan in for your Fast Passes, the original one when it was called Fast Pass. It was really great at Disney World.
You can open your door in the hotel.
You could open your door. If I wanted to buy something, I could just scan my MagicBand to buy it. I was a huge fan of it, and I was super late to the party because by the time I got my first one, you guys were already done with it. But I thought it was a great addition to a trip to the park, particularly on the East Coast, because one of the problems I have with using your phone for everything is my phone doesn't last all night because I keep pulling it out to do stuff. By the end of the night, I got to recharge my phone. So to have an alternative that doesn't drag my phone was great. So I loved it. And then Disney announced that they were going to introduce the next level of MagicBand Plus, at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland, which was going to do everything the original MagicBand did, plus have an interactive component where there was lights and things that would go along with parades and shows, and that you could do sort of interactive things in the park. Like there's a game you can play with it at Galaxy's Edge, and all this other stuff that was going to be worth the $39.95 you were going to pay for it. So I was really excited about it, particularly because I had such a great experience with the standard MagicBand at Walt Disney World in January. And I bought one, and I bought so you go and there's dozens of styles, and they even had a magic key holder exclusive style.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. And I bought one of the magic key holder exclusive styles. I'll put a picture of it up on our Instagram. And it was really cool, and it has like the classic Disneyland type of stuff. And I was really excited. And then I had to go into the park to use it. So one of its uses is to scan into the park. So I literally bought it, activated it, which was a fairly complicated activation system. Took me like a half hour to get the whole thing working. And then I went from Disneyland to DCA was the first time I was able to use it to key into the park. And it was great. Waved my band. They're like, here you go, Mr. Day, walk right in. I'm off to the races. And after that, I never used it again.
What?
Because I would say the infrastructure that is at Disney World is not there at Disneyland. And because MagicBand Plus is so new, many of the features that you are just on the original there just don't work. So, for example, MagicBand Plus cannot be used to purchase things at Disneyland.
What?
They just don't have it set up. I think that is the plan to roll it out eventually, right? But then and there, no. And so, especially when I'm doing like getting a churro or something, it's great to be able to just, hear,
I know.
Right? The interaction with parades and shows. I'm assuming it's going to roll out eventually, but nothing when I was there happened, because it's got lights and sounds and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I was at the parade. Nothing happened at the specialty parade. I was there for 2 days, so I went by a couple of the shows. Nothing happened. And then when I did some research, yes, that is something that's going to happen, but hasn't happened yet. I didn't stay in a Disney hotel, but it wouldn't have mattered because it doesn't open your hotel room, even if you're in a hotel at the park. That is something that is going to be rolled out in the future. So not only was MagicBand Plus more expensive than a standard MagicBand, also, if you have another MagicBand that you've used before, they're not going to work. They don't work at Disneyland, and they're phased out. So I spent $40 for a piece of equipment that literally doesn't do anything yet.
Wow.
And kind of flimsily made. And I'm reading on boards which was almost my experience 2 or 3 times, really easy to lose, because the watch band strap is just this flimsy piece of plastic. And so I saw 2 or 3 of them just laying on the ground.
Dang.
And they're $40 a pop.
Yeah,
I'm good. And again, am I disappointed I bought it? I'm 50-50, because if all the stuff that it does at Disney World eventually comes to Disneyland, great. But I'm like, why are you selling these when like none of the functionality is there yet? And it's not satisfying after I spent $40 to be like, oh yeah, we're going to get that eventually.
No, that is disappointing. That is disappointing.
Incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, I think I did hear that at Disney World, right, that it does like do certain things when the fireworks show's on, or when you walk by certain things. So I think Annika bought one. I'll be interested to see how it works when we're there.
I just think the infrastructure is already there at Disney World. Like it's built. Yeah. It's already built in. They've already got the stuff ready to go. But honestly, even if it just allowed me to buy stuff, that would have been.
Yeah, I know. It is so key. It is so key. I mean, and that's one of the things, like I didn't need the MagicBand anymore, because now you can put the Disney ticket right on your Apple Wallet. So I just have my Apple Wallet on my watch. So I don't need it. I can still use everything I did with the MagicBand before. I can do with my Apple Watch.
Yeah, but as I understand it,
go.
that's only at Disney World. I remember you saying that, and I tried to do it for Disneyland. I think that's true for the Walt Disney. Is the Walt Disney World app My Disney Experience, or is it?
Yeah.
The
Aren't
Disney,
they both or no?
There are different apps for Disneyland has a different app.
I knew it was a different
it
app,
doesn't
but
have
I
that
didn't know if it was.
functionality.
Oh.
Right.
Whatever.
So
man.
it would
that
have
is
worked,
so
but I didn't pay for any fast pass or
Genie
any
Plus.
Lightning Lanes or Genie Plus. So from what I understand, it worked on that too.
Yeah.
And again,
okay.
even those, like, now that I own it, I'll use it for that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the biggest advantage is having my phone run out of battery is really annoying when I'm at Disneyland.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow. Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry that.
Definitely first world problems.
Well, oh God, don't even get me started.
I couldn't spend money on my new.
Oh, I'm sure they'll figure it out soon. Shape
they're going to figure out how to get my money.
Yeah, they will
more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Starbucks figured out. Well, just give us your money to hold while you decide for 2 weeks what drink you want. Exactly. We'll just get interest on that, right? Like, and I know that's what's happening, and I still do it because they give me points.
Oh God, we're so pathetic. We're so pathetic.
For me, the distinction is as long as you know what you're getting into, right? Like, I know the deal. And I think the thing that's most annoying about the MagicBand Plus is they advertise it as being able to do all these things. And it wasn't until I got in the gates that I was like, but it doesn't do these things yet. And that's the thing for listeners. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it. I'm saying if you buy it, understand that a lot of the functionality that particularly if you're going from Walt Disney World to Disneyland, you're going to be really annoyed at the number of things that you could do there that you can't do at Disneyland.
But if you do have Genie Plus or Lightning Lanes for the day, individual Lightning Lanes, that works on the MagicBand, right? Yeah, so you can use that. Like if you have a party of 6 and you buy Genie Plus for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. So the Lightning Lane stuff, the Genie, all that stuff works. But again, because it's the same functionality as getting a ticket into the park, all it does is recognize, yes, this is the appropriate person. Right. But the interactive, and I will say the other thing, I didn't do it because I think it's more of a thing that to entertain kids while you just try to take a break. The other thing that does work is the game in Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, right.
The Bounty Hunter game works. From what I understand. But then I watched a video about it and I was like, this doesn't seem interesting. Like, I didn't spend a ton of money to get into Disneyland to wander from point A in Galaxy's Edge to point B in Galaxy's Edge, then back to point A for points that I can't use on anything.
Yeah, what a drag. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna look at Annika's and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you all aren't gonna use Magic Bands when you're at Walt Disney World because you can put the app you can put it on your wallet, right?
Yeah. I mean, Ed and I probably won't. Annika already has one. Emma and Fernando might buy one just for souvenir sake. We'll see I'm curious to see what it looks like.
I'm really curious.
While we're there, yeah. Did you see Wakanda?
I did.
And?
My heart. Okay, so Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out last week. This is a sequel to Black Panther. A wonderful film that just really meant, in addition to being a great film, it meant so much to the African American community.
I bet.
It just was this sort of real zeitgeist moment for Black folks here in the U.S.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Is well known. I'm a longtime superhero fan. I'm not a huge Marvel guy. I'm more of a DC guy. That being said, Black Panther historically was arguably the first African or Black superhero, and not African American. He was from the nation of Wakanda in comics, and meant a lot historically. And while not the first black superhero movie, probably the first good one, because Steel and Meteor Man were awful. And Meteor Man, I won't even count it because, but so it was like, hey, there's going to be a good movie. And not only that, it places folks who look like me in not only the hero role, but in this sort of really ambitious Afrofuturistic world, in which the fantasy of having a country that was never colonized by European countries and thrived and is actually more advanced than other countries is just such an appealing idea. But not least of which, and probably one of the main components of it that were so moving is the lead actor, Chadwick Boseman, who up till that point within the black community had been known as the guy who plays like every black icon because he had played Jackie Robinson, he had played Thurgood Marshall, he had played James Brown. And I'm like, wow, now you got Black Panther, like, Martin Luther King, and you're done. Like, you just ran the
Yeah, for real.
But he's such a wonderful actor, just a really wonderful actor. And from all accounts, just a really terrific guy. Was known for doing things like he was starring in a movie with another actor, a female actor, who notoriously, this isn't uncommon in Hollywood, was getting a fraction of what he was getting. And as one of the producers was like, that's not right. We need to balance this out, and made sure that she was paid appropriately. Really took all of his roles incredibly seriously, understood the impact of what he was doing, and was just, from all intents and purposes, is just a really terrific guy who, surprisingly to the public, died a few years back from colon cancer that he had been suffering from and managing while he was shooting many of the Black Panther movies, and while he was shooting a couple of other films that he was doing, and just really hadn't disclosed that he was suffering from this disease at the same time as doing a lot of work for cancer charities and children's, just really great guy. So Black Panther was this cultural moment for black folks. And then when Chadwick Boseman died, it was sort of this shock of, we've lost the Panther, we've lost our hero, right? And so how do you continue that story without him? And so Wakanda Forever manages to pull it off in a really neat way that is both extraordinarily respectful of the character, but also of the man, the actor. But then takes what was great about the first movie and expands it and doubles down on it. One of the other things that was great about the first movie was, other than Black Panther, almost all of the sort of lead roles were by women. And were just really heroic and really cool. And just, it was, again, talking about Black excellence, just all of these awesome, cool women who are doing these awesome, cool things. And with the loss of him as a central character, the mantle of lead goes to those other characters who are mostly these incredible Black women who were doing incredible things, who were just awesome and smart and cool and everything you would want to create heroes for young Black girls, which I think is incredibly important. And also manage the grief of what happens when you lose somebody who's so important to you. What happens when you lose a family member that you didn't expect to lose, and you have to carry on that legacy without them. And so the big picture is, this is a movie, when you see it, that is very much about grief.
It's so much about grief.
Yeah. So if you're in a place when you're going to see this movie where, like, grief maybe not the thing you want to spend some time with, I give you that fair warning. But just how do you live life without someone who was central to your life? Like, how do you move on? And how do you deal with all the complicated feelings that come with that? Sometimes you're angry at the person for leaving. Sometimes you're angry at yourself for not doing what you could or telling them how you felt. There are parts of their life that they maybe didn't disclose to everybody that become public when they pass away. All that is in this movie at the same time as introducing a whole new narrative and a new group that is also about a different community of color being impacted by colonialism in a very different way than Wakanda was, and their feelings of it, and what happens when those two cultures come into conflict with each other, and how they can be manipulated by the colonial powers, right? Just one of those movies, and people, when they think about superhero movies, think of them as simplistic, but this is one of those movies that really wrestles with some really difficult and complex topics in a really satisfying way, at the same time as having awesome action. But in the last word I'll say on it before we kind of have conversation about it is, if you don't think Angela Bassett is a good actor, go see this movie, because she tears this movie apart and rebuilds it, and then tears it apart a second time and rebuilds it. And there are moments in the movie when you're sitting there watching Angela Bassett going, nobody else can act except Angela Bassett, because she is perfect. She is just so good as a mother grieving the loss of her child immediately after having to grieve the loss of her husband, and just like all these devastating things that have happened to her. Angela Bassett, honestly, not a lot of superhero movies get nominated for Oscars, but man, if Angela Bassett doesn't get an Oscar nomination for this, I don't know what we're even doing here.
This is one of those Marvel movies that I didn't expect because of what you just said. Like, I would never expect a Marvel movie to be nominated for any kind of Academy Award, but if one was, this one might be. I wanted to get your feeling on that from being a Black man, and that's a perspective I can't get when watching this movie. Al and I decided we wouldn't give any spoilers. So if you are watching this movie, you haven't seen it, we're not going to give anything away. I don't think it's giving anything away by saying that they're introducing a new character. Why don't you tell me? Am I going to? It's on the commercial. Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
I think if you don't know this new character's coming in, you're just trying to not know.
Okay. There was a new character coming in, and I say a new character coming in, Namor. Or is it Namor?
The Submariner.
It's Namor if you say it like us, but it's Namor if you are listening to his story and how he got named. It's going to be Namor. Anyway, that you could find out from the movie. But interesting because, Ed has always been into Marvel. And so he was giving me some of the backstories of Namor as well, and having him be the character that he is. DC and Marvel try to have like kind of the equal character, like who's your equal character going to be, right? Superman or Iron Man, things like that. And so this would be definitely the Aquaman versus Namor. But Namor was first.
The undersea, Namor was first by about 2 years, I want to say.
I don't know, but I just we were looking more into that, and it's really incredible how they took the illustrations.
Aquaman was 1941. Yeah.
Okay. They took the illustration of Namor. I mean, he doesn't look anything like he does in the comic books at all. But I
disagree. I think he does look like it. Like all the significant. Yeah.
He looks like a white Eastern European in the comics.
Skin tone, but like
that's what I mean. Oh, you're talking about the other stuff. Okay. I'm just talking about actual initial appearances. They did a really good job. No, they did a really good job making him the hero that he is from the comic books, and I like the story.
Hero Namor has never been.
You're right.
A hero.
You're right.
He's always been more anti-hero.
Thank you.
Sometimes outright villain.
Right. I get it. I mean, I get it. If I were him, I'd probably feel the same way.
Well, but that's just it. Like in this movie, they in the comics, it's always been. I've never liked Namor in the comics because he's always just been this arrogant, full of himself guy for no reason. Still arrogant. And no, he's still arrogant and still a bit full of himself. But in this iteration, they give you a really good explanation as to why that might be. And they really tie it culturally with some really significant historical events in the real world, our world, as I like to call it, that make you...
Is that what you like to call it?
Well, you have to understand the multiverse theory and me being
okay, I don't even want to get into that.
When I was a kid, I understood that
Oh,
the idea
I
was that there
asked
was
for
multiple
this.
Earths, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And even though I knew logically it wasn't necessarily provably true, I very much liked the idea that on some Earth out there, Superman existed. So,
Okay, wait, can we stop
I
for a
held on to
second?
that.
Can we
Yeah.
stop for a second?
Yeah.
So you're not okay with me believing that Snow White is actually Snow White at Disneyland, but you
Yeah.
are okay believing that there's multiverses and other Earths and
Yeah.
other time.
Yeah. I'd even go so far as to say there's multiverses where Snow White exists. But the world
Okay.
that we're in,
Okay, the world.
there's a teenager
okay.
playing Snow White at Disney.
Hey. You don't know that. Anyway, so I have a question for you. We were looking
Yes.
this up after the movie. I needed some time to process this movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk about it right as soon as it was done. Usually that's what our family does. We watch the movie, we process right afterwards. I had nothing to say. I couldn't say.
It's
a
lot.
I just couldn't talk.
It's so much. Yeah.
It is so much. For me, part of the reason I love Marvel movies so much is because there's action, there's some deep story themes, but there's also bits of humor that are like interjected in there all the time. I didn't get that so much from Wakanda, and it would have probably been inappropriate.
It would have taken you out. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But I missed that. So it was a lot of heavy for me. It was just a lot of heavy.
I was actually talking with this around my friend Amanda, who I saw it with. I said, part of the and I don't think it was a bad choice, but part of the choice is in the first Black Panther, most of that humor came from Shuri.
Yeah.
Most of
for
that,
real.
the ability to like undercut T'Challa and not take him so seriously because she was his little sister and everybody else had to respond to the king, but she could just make fun of his shoes and stuff like that, right? Well, in this movie, again, the movie's about grief and her brother has just died. That's not a spoiler. She's in a very different place. And so for her to be sort of the quippy, funny one just wouldn't make any sense, right? So to your point, I agree. I do enjoy that, but it just would have been so out of place in this movie.
There was another hero, I think. Is she a hero? I don't know, that they introduced.
Oh, Riri Williams?
I was, for me, maybe in what am I trying to say? Superhero land, that might mean something more than it meant to me.
Yeah, I think part of what these movies have to do is not only sort of tell their own story, but set up future stories.
Yeah,
and
I know.
That is a story that is to come. So I liked her.
It seems so forced to me. It did not
some of them, sometimes it seems like, okay, why do we need this person? Or I think for me, it's, so we're not going to tell this person's full story because their full story is going to be told later, but we need to introduce them here.
Yeah.
So here she is. If you're really excited about this, here she is. And the movie really goes, here she is. She's pretty cool. You're going to learn more about her when she has her own thing.
Yeah, right? I guess. Maybe I'll change my mind later. I was just not wanting her to be there.
Like, but I also think that part of that was using her to replace what you got from Shuri, which is a person who can comment humorously on the situation and give you some of those laughs. That wasn't, because literally all of our main characters are deeply in grief and remain so throughout the movie.
The whole time.
For any of them, like they were able to get away with a couple of little like funny moments, but even then, like it's hard to joke when you're like grieving, right? And it's but I thought I thought the actor who played that character was really good. That's a fairly new character, only in the last couple of years, and so I actually have never read a story with that character. So that's pretty, other than knowing that the character exists, that was pretty much my introduction to her. I really like the actor. I thought she was really quite charming.
So Rotten Tomatoes ranked all 30 Marvel movies so far. I want to get your opinion on this. Black Panther was number one. Black Panther is number one. I would
probably
Marvel
put it at
movies.
number 1 or 2.
Okay. Wakanda Forever, number 17.
Here's the thing, though, with Rotten Tomatoes, and this is a thing that I feel like has to be mentioned, not only with this movie, but with Captain Marvel, is there is I hesitate to call them fandom or fans. I'm going to call them fanboys. There is a group of fanboys who will go out of their way to trash movies that don't meet with their own narrative. And that generally means movies starring women or movies starring characters of color. So
it's interesting though, because Black Panther, well, then it would have to be women because Black Panther itself was number one.
Well, but to be fair, I think that the Black Panther may have come out before they started doing this, because it's really in the last couple of years that they've started to review trash. So here's the thing: are you looking at the ratings by critic or ratings by public?
No, it's that's a really good question.
Because the ratings by critics are usually a little more.
It's by the public. It's by the public tomato meter. So
yeah. So like Captain Marvel, which I thought was a wonderful movie, was really sort of tanked, not financially, but review bombed by these folks. Same with She-Hulk, which She-Hulk really called out these.
I love She-Hulk so much.
She-Hulk was awesome.
I just loved it.
And I think part of what made She-Hulk awesome was them calling out specifically these types of people who are just honestly misogynistic and racist.
Yeah.
And are going out of their way to like destroy movies that don't fit their own narrative. I would put Wakanda for. It's hard to say. Marvel makes a lot of good movies, and I haven't sat with Wakanda Forever long enough to sort of rank it within there. So I'd say 17 isn't bad. I just would be I just qualify everything after a certain point in terms of Rotten Tomatoes. Is there's so much review bombing going on, and it's
okay. So maybe I'll look for a different one.
What would your thought be? Like I thought I would probably put Endgame as number one. It's hard to beat Endgame.
They put Endgame as number two. I would put Endgame as number one as well.
So good. Yeah.
It is good.
Me,
Black Panther is really good.
Personal connection. It's almost hard to be objective.
Yeah. No. I get it. I love Black Panther, but I would have to say that Endgame would be number one as well. It just incorporated everybody who was important at that time. They had just come off from the blip, right? So you had to like deal with all of that.
10 years of work, right?
It was great. I loved Endgame. So yeah,
I am the world's biggest DC Comics fan.
Yeah, you are.
I am wearing a 1966 Batman hoodie right now. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat channel.
And Endgame may be the best superhero movie I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly the last hour with the battle, and he finally says Avengers. I mean, it's hard to beat Endgame.
It really is.
Black Panther, it means so much to me personally that I don't know that I can be objective about Black Panther. It's just,
that's fair.
It was a moment for me as an individual and for the community that I love and I'm a part of.
Well, I think it's a good question to put out. Yeah, I know. See, I even feel weird doing that. I don't think I can do that.
You probably should.
I agree with you. Oh, you know who I missed? I hope this isn't a spoiler because he's not in it. And I just want to say that I missed him in it. I wish Bucky would have showed up a little bit because he was the White Wolf. I would have liked to see a little bit of Bucky. I don't know where he would have fit, but anyway, that's that story. So I guess my question for the duelist this week is what should be number one? What's the number one Marvel movie in your opinion? And what did you think of Wakanda? Everybody I know loved it. So, maybe you are one of those people. Maybe you're somebody who didn't love it and want to confess your unpopular opinion. I don't know.
And I'm also interested to hear what people feel is the most maybe underrated Marvel movie.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
That would be interesting as well.
All right. So, Duelist, that's what we want to know from you. What should be number one? And what is the most underrated Marvel movie? Good to know. All right. You can find yourself in this community on Facebook. We are under the Dueling Disney Community Duelist. So we have our Dueling Disney Facebook page, which is great. And that's usually pictures and fluff and things like that. But our community page is one that you actually have to join. And then you can talk with other community members and we ask questions and share each other's vacations. And it's a lot of fun. And I hope you join us on there. So again, Dueling Disney Community Duelist on Facebook. Just ask to join and we'll let you right in. Don't be dumb. We don't want dumb people. Or hateful people. You can be dumb. I don't care.
You can be dumb. I mean, I'm pretty dumb. But
we really don't want hateful people. We
hateful
are now
people
on.
will not be welcome. Thank you very much.
That's right. That's right. We are now on YouTube, so you can watch. And if you are watching right now, please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe right there in the corner, or there, depending on what corner it's in right now. You can find us at duelingdisney.com. Okay, here's another one. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Instagram at Dueling Disney. I'm going to ask my pal Al here, though, because I didn't talk to him about this before. I just got off Twitter. I took myself off Twitter.
I'm happy to be taken off Twitter.
Okay, so we are not going to be, you won't find Dueling Disney on Twitter anymore. Don't look for us there. I'm done. I'm done. There's no way. There's no way.
Nope.
And so
we'll find an alternative at some point. Yeah.
We will. So right now, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Dueling Disney. Or you can hashtag Dueling Disney and we'll find you there as well. Please share a review wherever you watch or listen to Dueling Disney.
Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. Wait for the podcast to come to a complete stop before disembarking. Permanece sentados, por favor.